Right.
Jay's project shovel ready.
Yeah, but then it gets a social economic.
I gotta call this meeting to order. Where's the gavel?
I doubt it. But
All right, I'd like to call the April 20th, 2021 Lincoln Way Special Recreation Association Board of Directors regular board meeting to order, please. At 9:31. Can I have a roll call or pledge of allegiance? Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Now roll call, please.
Okay. Barb. Greg Lewis.
here,
Jay.
Here.
Audrey.
Here,
Gina.
Here.
Greg Vitale. Absent. And Kirsten.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
All right. Any public comments? No one's in person that I see. Any communication otherwise?
Nope.
All right. Under general functions, a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
So moved. Gina?
I'll second it. Greg Lewis.
Any comments or concerns regarding the treasurer's report? Hearing none. All right, we'll do a roll call.
Greg Lewis. Did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Jay.
Yes.
Audrey.
yes.
Gina.
Yes.
Kirsten.
Yes.
Barb.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right. Can we have a motion for the approval of accounts payable in the amount of $184,444.54, which may include lodging and travel expenses?
So moved.
Second, Greg Lewis.
Any questions or comments regarding the payment of bills?
I just want to note that we paid the building death certificate of $88,900 this one, and we also had an extra. We had another 3 payrolls this month, which reflects why it's so high this month.
Okay. Any other comments?
I like the reports.
And Greg Vitale jumped on.
Greg Vitale is here at 9:33.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Can we have a roll call for the payment of bills, please?
Audrey.
Yes.
Gina.
Yes.
Greg Vitale.
Yes.
Kirsten.
Yes.
Barb.
Yes.
Greg Lewis.
Yes.
And Jay.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right. We have a special guest, a presentation from the foundation.
We will hold off to that till next month.
Okay.
They have they did really well, so they're going to donate some more money to the agency.
Very good. So we will table item 3A under general functions. Any other communications? All right. Under consent agenda, can I have an approval of the regular meeting minutes of March 16th, 2021?
So moved. Greg Lewis.
Second,
Yeah, Audrey, way to step in there.
am I messing with the flow?
No, it's good. It's good.
She jumps right on the screen.
Brace yourself for the voice. Like it's like
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz or something.
So we got a first and a second.
Yes.
Okay.
Gina.
Yes.
Greg Vitale.
Yes.
Kirsten.
Yes.
Barb.
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay, thank you. Greg Lewis.
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
And Audrey.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, moving into staff reports, staff and committee reports. Keith, you're up.
All right, so we want to let you guys know we hired a program specialist, Nikki. She has started, and we're excited. about that. She will be picking up a lot of those programs as we start to open back up, a lot of those leader responsibilities. Melissa will talk about that a little bit later, her qualifications, some of those things and where she comes from. So we're excited. Well, hopefully we can get a second one. Programs are filling up, so which is we'll need all the help to launch this as much as possible. So it's not full-time staff. It is a part-time position, just a program specialist. So we did update our organizational chart. You guys have that on hand. We just cleaned it up a little bit, moved things based on where people need to lie based on their position, and it looks a little bit better than before. So it was just a cleanup, and then we added those program specialist positions there. And so everything is pretty much the same except for the program specialist. So we cleaned it up, and I just wanted you guys to see that and go from there. Any questions on the organizational chart before we move forward? I did send it to Greg and Greg, finance and personnel, and they were okay with it. So that's that. The donations, fundraising, and outreach. We kicked off our Kindful software. If you look in there, I attached some copies of what the report looks like. It's really nice. It's a really nice addition to our stuff. But you know, we could see this was just March that we launched it in March, and we got $5,428. That was, you know, it. When you go onto the website, it'll do a drop down and it tells you exactly where you want to donate. So you can donate directly to Adaptive and it'll just go in. Before I had to, you know, we get a check or somebody calls, I have to call them and say, hey, where do you want that money to go? And then we have to put it in the spreadsheet, and then I have to remember and then send a tax letter at the end of the year. This way it does it all for you. So we're really excited about this. And we're going from, it's doing well. The Hawk Effect this month is going, we're going to see it grow really large next month too, because we got a lot of random donations in there just for having it up. So it's really exciting that we have something like this. And if you don't have anything like this at your agency, I highly recommend it. It was $2,000 to do it. But then, you know, it just saves, so it's going to save so much time at the end of the year when we have to do those letters and we have to do donor plaques on the wall for people. It's just going to save a lot of time and effort on our end to get that done.
Is that just a one-time fee?
Yes, it's a one-time fee. So it's called Kindful. We looked in, we were at PayPal. We had a Giving Fuel. We tried several ones before we got to this one. And Tom really researched Network for Good. Some agencies use it's a little bit more expensive, but this one was the one that we were able to do a together campaign where we can set up the campaign and people can add people to their campaign to don't solicit donations for us. So like you can spread it further than just here. So that's not spreading the link, but they can actually go in, set up their account. So like I got a Wallace account. So Greg, if you want to be on my team, you can I can send you the link. You can join my team and start sending it to your network. So it's really exciting to see that us be able to spread our message and our word going there. And we did take the board's advice and kind of cleaned up some language about the mortgage and paying it off. We just said if we're able to pay this bill, we're able to do these things in advance. So we're able to, you know, provide more one-on-one support. We're able to provide more equipment. So we want to pay this, but this is what we need to do for that. So that kind of helped out and gave people a little more backing when they're trying to give than just giving, because we heard, why are we paying your mortgage? You know, and it was true. So we just like, yeah, that's our biggest need is that cash flow. But we need to tell them why we need that. So it's good and it's going well, and I can show you guys where we are right now for that once we get done.
So no monthly maintenance fee, or
it's all by how much you donate. So we get kicked, like if you do it, I think it's like 3% or 2 point something percent that off of every transaction. Same as PayPal. Everything was charging us a fee per transaction. So
they get 2%?
think it's two, I can't remember the exact percentage, I just have to see.
Can the customer choose to pay that portion
Yes.
too?
And that's the one thing you couldn't do through PayPal or
Right.
anything. Which we're seeing a lot of our customers picking up that fee for us.
Great.
Which is nice.
So, really nice. Like we put a QR code because we're trying to do a sensory path outside. So we just put a QR code out there. Somebody randomly donated $500. Like they just went over there and clicked it and put 500 and we got it last week. So, I mean, it's working. We just have to, we'll just wait, sit back and collect the money. So, and be able to pay some bills. So it's good.
Did we put a start and a finish? Is it like this campaign?
So the Hawk Effect will go for 2 months. So we're hitting it hard for 2 months and then we'll leave it open, but then we're hitting it hard for 2 months and then that's it. But the other, it'll be up if people want to make a donation for the end of the year, because we didn't want to get into any of our other
Right,
things
but
that
where
we're
I'm going with this is, okay, so the one-time fee was for $2,000 gives you the year? It's open-ended? I mean, what?
2,000 for
Software?
the software is $2,000 in general. We have it.
In
So we-
perpetuity,
so we
they own
have-
it.
Yes,
So anytime we go to set up a campaign,
yes,
it's just the processing,
it just, yes, that's it.
or then there's no fees from them to help us set it up or anything else? Okay, that's good.
So it's not annual, it's just a
No.
one-time
One
fee?
time.
Yeah, a project, I guess,
Yeah.
driven, I didn't know. Okay.
And the fee is for the credit card processing,
Yeah.
which we would pay anyway with any credit card processor.
And I mean, when we were testing it, we got a donation for $200 from Mokina. I think it was Kevin from Mokina. I mean, we didn't,
Right.
and we were just testing it. We're like, where does $200 come from? It just popped up. So it was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So yeah, it's paid for itself already. So, so my BNI group also opened a campaign for the Hawk Effect, and as of today, they raised $900, and this is a group of business professionals in the area. They just opened one, and we got some money from that, so that's exciting. We received $70 from one of the members that do home improvement. He's given LWSRA 3% of all sales, so the $70 was for my windows. So we're hoping other people would jump in and get that, but I didn't know how much windows cost until I had to do them myself, and I was like, wow, I might as well get some money for that. The wine thief, if you see the flyer, we put that in your packet. A guy called us that owns the wine thief. He's having an event, and he's given us $7.50 per each ticket they sell, and they're going to do baskets for us as well. So we should do very well there. At least get $1,000. That's our kind of goal for the year on things like this. But this was one. This is what I created that sheet, or we created the sheet, the marketing and outreach events, because we were getting a lot of people wanting to do Pampered Chef and all these other things for us, and we just had to have a way to say, okay, we're booked, we can't throw this in, we're doing too much. So it kind of helped out, but this one got in because he's given $750 and we don't have to do anything. So I was like, okay, let's try this, and we got rid of one of the things that probably wouldn't have made a lot of money for us on our event that same month. So if you drink wine, go check it out. So a lot of our people are going. The goal was to sell 100 tickets, and I think he was already there. A Body Fountain is providing individual massages for individuals with special needs. The owner is taking donations for this up until April 30th. So this is another thing that just popped up. Somebody's doing something for us. So we got some good mojo going, and we like that. Grant submitted this month was Nicor, Walmart, and Ozinga. We're happy to say we got notified that we got $1,000 from Ozinga. So that one has come in after I did this meeting. And then the Hawk Effect has raised over $4,000 as of today. The foundation, also the bunny kits went really well. I put the totals in there, so they raised over $9,000 net profit. And that's after all of this stuff. We also put a sheet in there that kind of showed what our expenses was for our staff to kind of at $11 an hour. So they kind of understand the work that went into it and how much we do for the foundation to make sure events go. and we wanted to make sure we put a number on that so they can see how much money that staff cost would cost if we were to pay it. So if we were to charge them, then their profit would have been about what's that, 7,000 or 6,000 and some change.
Yeah, 5,000.
Yeah. So we just wanted to let them know that, you know, when they give us a donation of 45, it's appreciated. It's appreciated, but there are some staff costs that go to take that down. So, and I think we got a good group and they understand that now. Golf outing, the golf committee met on April 13th. They are working on the registration and sponsorship information. The date of the event is August 13th. So make sure you save that date. They will be getting that out. So if you know you're gonna have a force a minute, please call Melissa so she can jot it down so we can reserve those so they don't go away. Because I'm sure once we open up the registration, it will go. And it will be held at the sanctuary, of course. Our audit is about I would say 95% complete. We're working on, we're still working with Sickish to get an update. We did send out an RFP for auditing services as Sickish is in their final year of the contract, and we're hoping to get that done soon as we receive the other one. We start working on this one because this one is really late getting out, so we want to make sure we get it. So we sent it out to probably 11 firms. One has called me that was excited for it to get it, so we're excited to get some new auditing firms. So. And then I have some upcoming events coming up, and that's about it from my report. Any questions?
Just follow through on looking into a business solution account with Office people with printing, especially those big ticket items.
I'm sorry.
What's up?
Sorry, I'm on a delay here. My apologies.
Okay.
Greg, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Please have business account with Office Max offices.
Yeah, I mean, we found out our annual, budget personnel book that we do, it's cheaper just to send it to them to do it. And we've got all the equipment, the copy machines, but when you really look like what happened, the wear and tear on the equipment and stuff. I mean, and then if they don't have the volunteers, you can even go the next step. Well, bind them, staple them, do whatever. So, I mean, naturally you want to utilize the volunteer force if you can, but if you can't, then you have that. But any big projects like that anymore, it's not worth burning up your internal machine.
Yeah. Okay, we'll look into that. Any other questions on my report? I do have the talk on the budget draft number 2. I sent that to you. I did talk to Gina a little bit last night. Everything, this is as if everything is going perfectly, as of what we can do under the restrictions now. We were very modest and moderate, but we came up with a nice draft that has 01, at a $600 surplus, 02 at a 02 fund at a $218 surplus, and that's adding all the things that we talked about for staff benefits, as well as keeping some of those staff in that we did not bring back this year. So we still have those in, and then some of the future planning that we wanted to do. So all of those numbers are in there with the increases, and it surprisingly, it looks really good without having a lot of staff and the things that we're doing right now that we're doing to make things meet and trimming out some of the things the unnecessary things. I think we have a good pulse on what we can do if everything goes according to plan. But COVID could drop that out anytime.
Did we institute a financial plan, a reserve policy?
We that's one thing that we're working on. We did not institute one, but I do have it in my back pocket, and we need to start discussing that. That was gonna be something for next, meeting to kind of have that policy and start talking about that policy and all the policies that we want to approve going forward. So that is something that we need to start doing.
Well, park district wide, it's 15% of your total expenses. But the goal there, like in our situation, we've been trying to put that away, because like in our rec fund, that's a big number. So if you try to, divide that into 5 years, and if we can put, year one of what that 15% would represent away in a reserve fund versus having X amount left at the end of the year to show people that, so then if we're back into the situation again, or we don't hit projections, then we have we're building up a reserve.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, if we can get through total 5 years and you have it, then we can spend it down on a capital project and then, start over again or whatever, the surplus.
So like yours is 15% of total expenditures?
I believe it is.
Ours is 25% of all necessary expenditures. So in COVID, when we shut down, for example, our before and after school program, that salaries, that's a major expense. We don't include that in our reserves because that program's not shutting down. And if it does go, we have the revenue to offset it. So we're looking at what does it take to keep the doors open, pay staff, full-time staff and those things. I mean,
and ours might be 20, I'm too rough, but it's so the corporate fund, whatever the expenses of that fund is what we set our reserve fund at. So if it's 15%, 25%, and you take that, bring in your revenue, you take that off right away before you, for the year, and you go. If you can put more than that away, but I mean, only way I could make it work to start with was spread over a 5-year period, and hopefully at the end of 5 years, we were gonna be at that number.
it took us 5 years.
Yeah.
And I think in our, I gotta look at our articles of incorporation, it says clearly that we need to do something like that. I gotta really do it.
I actually don't think we get a choice anymore. I think your policy can differ, but I think the park code dictates that you have a financial,
Fund balance policy.
fund balance policy.
We don't have one. Every year the auditor suggests one. We don't have one.
I think, and especially if you're trying to get accredited, you definitely, those things I think come in important.
Yeah.
Well, and I actually just went through this with Tinley. I actually sent Tinley Park Sean yesterday, because when you go through OSLA or anything now, or the park grant, part of that GATA thing is a financial review that you have to fill out, and it's really detailed. But they look at if your system is up to date, cutting checks, you have basically the checks and balances as far as the same person isn't signing off on check, cutting the checks and all that stuff. So the state, they basically want it guaranteed that they're not going to have a black eye at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we really can do that at the end of the year. We should, and some of the stuff in here, I really padded some of the stuff to make sure we weren't having a large surplus, but we definitely can do that at the end. If you look at the projections, I'm looking at what page is that? The projection sheet, we should, because we're on cash basis, we should, if the projections go right, I know it's really tiny, but we should have cash on hand of $274,000 at the end of the year. So we could move a percentage of that over to start this cash reserve, maybe 15%, like you say, and go from there. 15% of that, or we can figure out what the total amount of our budget is and then go from there.
I mean, if you look at the summary sheet on the budget, you're looking at, let's just say you're going to use total expenditures. You're at 130,260. You're probably looking at about $350,000 to meet 25% of total expenditures, which that includes everything. So whether or not that would be the maximum that you would need based on the total budget expenditures.
Yeah, and you divide that over a 5-year period of time,
Right.
It's very doable, at least to get it started.
Do you guys have a separate fund to do that, or do you just add it to your existing funds?
It's just, for us, it just remains in your fund, but it's restricted.
An unwritten rule, you know, you're not gonna
It's just
spend it.
restricted reserves.
Okay,
So we could put it in our 04 fund, which is our debt reserve fund that we are.
right. Yeah, we could just put it all in there. Do you separate it out general versus rec, or it's just, okay. How about you, Greg? Do you separate it out?
Well, no, we keep it in the fund that it's in. I mean, I just
Okay.
put it in a liability account.
Yeah, so it's your corporate fund will have its restricted reserves, and that's the way the auditors want to see it. And then your rec fund will have your restricted reserves.
Okay,
Yeah, I would keep it by fund and even to have, like, to have the policy and be working towards it, you will get a gold star with the auditors versus having nothing or having the policy and then not putting, trying, so to speak. So
Okay.
even if we don't hit projections and we don't get all the amount, we're still way better off. So, and John's in his house there sleeping, so he's waiting for a project. But we got a sample I can send you too. I mean,
yeah, that would be great.
I'm looking at it today, but that's the reason we made it through this whole thing, is because we started that and we weren't there yet, but that's just what we have is done wonders for what we lost in revenue, so.
So we don't carry over any fund balance to start the fiscal year, right? You start zero based. Yeah. Because that's for us anyway, like at Manhattan, the goal we need to get to is, so we've met the fund balance reserve, but the second part of that is to generate enough revenue from a capital funding source, because we don't have bond, we're in a different situation than most. So I have to figure out a way to generate a capital funding source. So where hopefully at the end of the year through conservative budgeting, not only am I maintaining that reserve, because that changes year to year based on your expenditures, then I got to figure out another chunk of change to try to get the capital for
But
funding.
you can do capital out of the fund too, or you can choose to move it to your capital fund. Either way, you're saving money. You can do at the end of the day,
Right.
do something with.
Right.
But we do carry over our fund balances. So I mean, we may choose to pay off some debts and funds or move some money at the end of the year, but our fund balances do carry over to start the next year. So when we have a reserve, it goes with that fund into the next year. That's how we continue to build it up. Like I said, in my budget ordinance or my line item budget, you see the revenues, the carryover, you see the tax money coming in, expected revenues, and then the reserve. And then we take that reserve that we're adding off, that's what we got to cover our expenses.
That's exactly how we do it in Mokina as well. Almost identical.
Greg Vitale, did you have something else you were trying to get through earlier? Did you have something else?
No, sorry, I had to cut out and get back in because I was on a delay. Greg kind of covered what I was going to discuss. So thanks.
So we'll work on the fund balance policy and we'll get that at the beginning of fiscal year, and I'll retune some of the numbers to kind of figure that out, and then we'll go from there. Is that the recommendation?
I believe so.
Well, then I like earlier
Chip.
discussion that Gina brought up, so I'm not gonna steal the thunder, bring that.
Well, I just, we've had some concerns over the last few years looking at some of the larger programs, and I was suggesting that we take 50% of Juanita's salary, 50% of her benefits, and charge it to the Titans program as a step to start showing how the program stands alone or self-sufficient or is deficient, to show that. And again, that exercise, maybe at some point we get to that with more of the funds or more of the programs. It stays in the fund. It doesn't become its own fund. For example, at our agency, our rec supervisor who is in charge of preschool and after school, her salary and 50% and all of her benefits are split 50% and charged back to those line items of that program. We don't do it for anything else, even though, if day camp is not the same way, the larger youth programs are not that way, but those two programs usually have a surplus, and it shows, like right now they don't. Right now they show they're negative. They're not from an operating standpoint, but we're charging the salary. So if you back that out, then they're okay. But I think for those larger programs, that particularly this one where we've had a lot of our constituents and participants, suggest that there's a lot of extra money there. I think it would be a good way to show them that it has a larger direct cost. And again, I can't speak to what percentage of Juanita's job is Titans, if it's 50% or if it's 80%. Again, and I use that as, would that person have would we have that position if that program didn't exist? And I don't think you use actually the last year is probably a good example because a lot of people were forced to do other things, but and again, you could say that they didn't have as much work because we didn't have that for a period of time. So I think it's just a good exercise. I do think it will call attention to some other programs, but we don't do it for all of them. We do it for our big standalone programs that have the larger participation and revenue so that people can see it's either self-sufficient or it's not.
Yeah, and you just got a lot of different ways. And as Gina's talking, the other thing that we've done over the years, because we mow all the grass at District 122 to use their facilities. So, and then our usage at Lincoln Way is heavy. And where am I going with it? So we actually have a surcharge on all the programs, like anything ran at Lincoln Way, I can't charge a non-district for anybody in the Lincoln Way area. So we actually have a surcharge we put on those programs to cover those expenses. So I think it's $5 per head per year or whatever. So you could up the administrative fee, you could put a surcharge on it, or I also have several different funds where accounting is split between corporate, rec, and the golf course. So my salary, my accountant salary gets split in thirds because those that's where our workload is, and then even get down to the smaller levels, we have where we share maintenance costs. So the golf course, I have one mechanic for the district. So, and then I have different building foremen. So we don't split the cost there because the golf course covers the whole mechanic fee or foreman's fee. And then we cover the building foreman's fee, but you could split those costs too, because based on where their time is spent, so you could amongst the funds.
When we were talking earlier, Greg and I, we talked about, maybe you suggested maybe just changing the administrative fee, but I don't really think that's the answer because every program has an administrative fee. So this is not a different cost than that. That administrative fee should still be there for every program. This is just really charging back the actual cost to that program in addition to whatever the administrative fee is. Because putting that person's salary back there doesn't take away the administrative fee, it still stays in place. Again, whether it should go up or down is a different discussion, but I just think it would be a fair exercise to start with this program in particular due to its volume. So.
But is it a direct cost or indirect?
What, her salary?
Yeah.
That would be it depends. It would be a direct cost. It would be a direct.
Yeah, I'd see it as indirect. That's my only problem is, I can, if you want to get.
She works the program and she plans the program. So
she actually works the program.
She actually works the program. So that would be a direct cost if we need her to work the program. And that's the trend we're going to. Before we had leaders that she would just oversee and would.
Yeah, if she's working the program, then you could figure it out on a basis. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So.
If you have a full-time staff person that's designated to one program because of its size and the time, I would consider that a direct cost. Like Gina said, if that program didn't exist, if that position didn't exist, if the program didn't exist, that would be a direct cost. Really.
So really, we got a couple problems going here. If she works the program, that should be an automatic direct cost to the program.
But she didn't always used to. It's fluctuated over the years based on enrollment and growth. So.
Right. But the other side of it, all the indirect costs, if we're not charging enough, like I said, the percentage is going to take more of a chunk from your bigger program versus your less one. So it sounds like our administrative fee isn't high enough of a percentage either.
Well, right. You could look at the total cost of operation of this building and break it down to the square foot of this room and know what the cost of this room is per hour. And then you could go crazy and charge back an hourly rate to your programs or just say, hey, we're going to charge 20.
And I suggest that as the dream goal of everyone's budgeting. But for right now, just given the level of scrutiny and that people have looked at this program, suggesting that there's this volume of surplus, that this would be a fairly easy exercise. Marie, we do this with the ACS accounting software. The person's salary is just split.
Right.
It's easy, even if you just do the salary and don't do benefits. It's a fairly easy exercise end game is what Jay speaks of, but I mean, this is, I just think a situation that could be looked at,
Yeah, we could certainly do it in ACS, or we could even do it in Paycor, you know.
Yeah, we just have to change our
and
account.
it's-
to go to
yeah.
the-
That's something we've struggled with, is if we do it for one, do we have to do it for all the programs? So that's really good insight. Yeah.
Again, if you have another program where someone is specific and that's all they do,
Mhm.
and they can't work an occasional special event, but when you're saying 50% of their work is associated with a larger program.
Yeah. Like Mac with Adapted, we could do that as well.
Yeah, so in your justification, I would just caution that you grab all those programs, put them on a list, on a piece of paper, anything that's similar situation where there's direct, leadership going in there, here they are, here's those programs, we treat them all the same. And then you got your other breakaways, because you want to be ready to defend it if you need to, so. But we're all talking the same thing. We really don't have a surplus. We just showed that. COVID hit. So, I mean, best case scenario, we hope to have all this, but we don't have a reserve fund. Doesn't sound like we're covering all our direct or indirect expenses. So at the end of the day, we just got to tighten this all up. So I think we're all saying the same thing.
Well, and I think that this goes back to two, and I remember, gosh, this was pre-COVID, but talking about, I remember talking to some of the families in the Titan program, and they're like, well, if there's extra money, it should stay there. Your money does not stay with the sports programs. Your money doesn't stay there. It goes into the general rec fund. It is not, we don't have an athletic fund. We don't have a Titans fund. It is a rec fund, or whatever fund we're talking about. But there are some people who participate often think that if that cash cow makes money, like youth basketball or day camp, that it stays there. It doesn't. And I remember having discussions, they're like, well, we bring in paper towels, but the program makes money. Well, sometimes your big programs help all those other little underlings that wouldn't go otherwise. So it's just how our business model per se is.
Yeah, but it's like thankful. I mean, now we're showing what's bringing in what. Yeah, there's a lot of donations.
Just
that
say
come in.
thankful, kindful.
Okay,
I don't know what he's talking about.
We are thankful that people are generating through Kindful. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you see a big donation check, but where's that getting generated? And what's the that's what I'm saying. We didn't have the details, now we have the details. So it's going where it should go.
When I think I said this at one of our meetings when we had some visitors concerned about where the finances were going. I mean, the revenue comes in and we're covering our total cost of operation, whether it's through donations, program revenue, or our part of our piece of the pie. And what I found in the meeting the other day with the program participants, which is I think human nature, is they only see what they want. They only see their little bubble. And I get it. I totally get it. But we're running a business here, and that money is all encompassing to cover the cost of our operations and offset that it is what it is.
It's like McDonald's charges they sell a lot of fountain pop that's really low cost, and that extra money reduces the price of the burger and everything else, but they don't want to see that. Maybe that's not the best analogy, but you know what I'm saying.
A draft beer would have been a good analogy.
I was thinking alcohol.
So we will pause on this, and we'll go forward, whatever. We can make a recommendation when we get to that down at the bottom, and I could definitely do some different things. I could do some different things with the budget and make it work, and split out some of those costs and go from there. We probably have to redo a lot of our program sheets to reflect that, so it'll be some work, but we have the program sheets all done, so we probably could just put a higher percentage in, and then that number will spit out, and then I'll take some time and do what we need to do. So
we're timing wise, you're a month ahead.
Yes, I'm a month ahead, so I'm good. I was just using this next month to work on policies, not budget, so that's why I was trying to do this, so I can get John's ear on all the policies that we need to update and all of that. So, but we can do it both at the same time. So that shouldn't be hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you come back in next month with all the changes, it'll be as simple as approving it.
Yeah.
And if you have them before the meeting, you know, if you have them in a week and a half, share them in a week and a half, not
Yeah.
the Friday before the meeting.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll get that done. And then, on this budget, why the Frankfurt Square is highlighted is because we don't have their Cook County, numbers yet, and that comes in about June, right, Audrey? So, that may go up. I did, account for, I think it was 1.5% higher than last year. So it may change, just a little bit, from what her EAD is, so, but that's why that's highlighted. But I do have, when I present this to you next month, we'll have all the support documents with, each program and how we arrived at each one of these numbers. And so you guys can see that as well, like I usually give you guys. So, that's my report. I'm sorry it was so long.
It's important information.
Melissa, no, Marie.
Okay, so we talked about a lot of this in Keith's section, but these are the March donations. So we did receive some scholarships from IPRA for 4 staff, so that was $900. We finished, like on March 1st, we received some funds wrapping up the New Year's raffle that we talked about last month. We did receive some PayPal donations in January and February that we got a check for in March for some memorials and others. And then the 3 Kindful, we did have some staff donations for a scholarship and some other donations, including the Pampered Chef that Keith mentioned, and then the Hawk Effect, which we're calling it like a building fund, was $43.78. I did just before this meeting, I set up my own Hawk Effect campaign, and so I saw the back end with how we get the information to be able to, you know, show what money came in and what the coding was. I did want to say that we're also using it if we receive cash or a check and not through the website, that the registrar, Angelo, is entering it into Kindful as a way of keeping track in one place. So we wouldn't pay the fee on that, but we're using it, you know, to send out thank you letters, etc. So it, as we said, it administers the credit card processing, which is awesome. The front end was great. I mean, it reminded me of other like autism walks and Habitat for Humanity, you know, fundraising, where I started a team, and so you could do that as well. And so I thought it was great. In the back end, it's a learning curve, just like, you know, Community Pass with the new registration software, just learning what reports are there. Not every one report gives me what I need to tie it to the cash receipts and things like that. So I've been working with Tom quite a bit this month, and it'll be improved for going forward for next month. I did want to say on the PPP loan, which is the $252,000 that we received, that we still don't have an answer yet. And so that note is a carry forward. We have not been billed for that processing. They did quote $2,500 is the last quote. We don't think they've done any more work. They haven't asked for anything additional in March, but we don't have a resolution yet on that. As Keith said, we are about 95% with the agency audit for the prior fiscal year with Sickage. They did the whole thing remotely, which was really interesting. So, you know, I've been on both sides. I was an auditor when I first started out in public accounting. And so to have it done remotely and just, you know, they would send out lists and I would upload to their portal. It was kind of interesting with COVID. We didn't even see them at all. So they did issue a draft report so that we could make the deadline of April 1st with the bond company, but we're awaiting a follow-up meeting and go over their proposed adjustments, which so far from what they were asking and reporting, it was, similar to prior years where we do an adjustment for insurance and, payroll accruals and things like that. As Keith said, we sent out an RFP for the next 3 fiscal years for audit. Got 1 response. We're still working on the transition to Old Plank Trail. We have the accounts all set up and active, but it's a process to migrate everything over. And we, as soon as the audit is complete, we're planning on going forward with like a full-on exploration of new accounting software, but we wanted to, get the audit wrapped up first. And as Keith said, we want, as part of this RFP, we've put in there that we want responses back by July, and we really want to be working on the audit in August and September of this year, while we, because we have implemented a new registration software, this donation software, and with accounting software. I mean, we want to make sure that we're wrapping up the audit before we go into the next calendar year to be really timely and efficient and make sure we still have access to everything we would need. So that's my report. Does anyone have any questions?
I did not mention in mine that we did get a call from FEMA for additional information. So we still are waiting for them. We submitted the extra documentation, so we're waiting for, I think, it's about $9,000 that we put in for FEMA for things. So. All right.
Thank you.
All right, just to answer Greg, your question on Kindful and what the percentages were, it's 2.9 plus 30 cents fee on all credit and debit card transactions, and then 1% plus 30 cents for any ACH or e-check.
Can you say those numbers again?
It's 2.9% plus 30 cents for credit or debit cards, and then 1% plus the 30 cents for ACH.
Thank you.
And you can pass those fees on, or whoever is donating can actually pick up those fees. It's just an easy checkbox on there.
And one thing I can show you too, and I'm so excited about this too, because it shows like if Jay, you make a donation and you've made donations before and you put your information in, it will give you a report of like what the ask should be, like what your charitable donations have been. It'll do its magic and say, well, you could ask him next time for $100 donation, or this person usually gives $1,000, or you kind of. It's pretty cool how you get that report and you can do that ask based on that.
Does the user get a tax receipt?
Yes, it does right away.
Yeah, that's good.
That's the best thing ever. It goes, you print it and you got it right away. So
yeah,
like we did it. We literally did it in an Excel document. I had to learn how to mail merge the letters, put the date on it, put the amount. I'm pretty efficient at it. It's good, and then we were able to do the email and stuff, but it was a pain. It was a pain doing it ourselves. So if we capture everybody's email, which is best, it will really send that information out for you and you get it, and you have an account. And then for your records, it also connects with, if you've done anything else out there that connects with Kindful. So if it talks with other donation sites out there. So if Network for Good, it'll talk with that one, so you can kind of see a list of things you donated for on your end.
So you got the contract or the proposal you can send out?
Yeah.
Is there a?
Yeah, I think there's one. Yeah, we can get that to you. Yeah, but it's really nice. Just it was so much staff time to be tracking all this. So me and Tom were like, what could we do? And we looked through a bunch of systems, and this saves. Just on thank you letters. It's immediate. You get a receipt and a thank you letter. It comes immediately to you, and then at the end of the year, like Keith is saying, you get a tax report, which is nice. Plus, you can group build as well. So
Yeah,
if you have golf outing.
But it segregates the process, makes it transparent. You got a third party involved. It's all good, really.
And I think we unfortunately would miss people giving thank you letters. In the last couple of months, we had some fall through. I think or fall out there. So we don't have to worry about that. and then we keep good rapport with everybody. So, yeah, it's very nice. But on to facility foreman report. All of the expanded stalls are now complete, so I know John was really excited on that. He also started on the bathroom locker room benches in there. They're a lot more smooth and they look really good. So if you guys want to stop in the bathrooms on your way out, John has done a lot of work in there. It looks fantastic. Also, the new paint job, you can see it in this room. Sherwin-Williams was here on April 1st. And they had, probably 20-some volunteers in here knocking it out. So every room looks the same now. It has one gray accent wall and with the Columbia blue everywhere else. So that looks good.
And all of the supplies were donated. We paid nothing.
Yeah,
That's very
the whole
cool.
project was great.
It's a new type of paint, so we're a test place, so.
And then for parking lot and grounds, after accepting an RFP from Rhino Seal Coat, we're waiting for later in April to get that complete. Support services supervisor, summer brochure is out. We had registration start on Saturday. We had a lot of people who still didn't make their households yet, so this was a nice learning experience for everybody involved. They had to do an assessment, they had to do the household, so I know staff worked tirelessly over Saturday and some over the weekend to try to get people in as fast as possible. Numbers are looking excellent compared to, I think, what we have seen, up to this point. So that's really exciting. Website and technology, secure iPad mounts were installed at the front. So if you guys checked in at all with our prices go, that looks really nice. Now they can't walk away with their iPads. So that's always a plus. Facility rentals, we've had quite a few rentals lately, and our sensory room has definitely boomed as well. So people are really trying to get out there and using the facility. I don't know about anybody else, it just feels good to have people in here. So pretty exciting news there. As of March 31st, we are up to date on all FOIA requests. I believe Marie, Keith, Tom, and I have also done the trainings for FOIA for this year as well. So we are all up to date on that. Keith talked about Nikki Van. She's our new program specialist. She's actually from Piatone, so she's from one of our districts. She's currently a student at ISU studying therapeutic recreation. She is, she's a junior there. She has actually only about 18 credit hours left to take. So we're happy to have her. She's kind of jumped right in. So it's been really good. And I like that she's from Piatone and maybe she can get some programming going down there in the future.
We need it right now.
Yeah, so I think now we have that staff member. So that works out good. But she's excited to be here. And like I said, really jumped right in from making baskets, money baskets to leading programs and anything in between. So that's been very nice. Safety, we continue to meet in our ever-changing guidelines as a committee. It's me, John, Tom, and Tammy. So we will be meeting again soon this month. Inclusion, we've actually tried to get out to a lot of programs. We're currently assisting the Lennox in a preschool program, Mokina in a soccer program, Manhattan. We've been over there helping in their aftercare program. Nikki is going to have a lot of inclusion on her plate, so we were going to be starting to fill those requests. Part-time staff, we're saying May 1st coming back for training, so hang in there. We should have probably anywhere from, I would say, 30 to 35 part-time staff returning for us to work this summer. Yes, I think it's very well needed, I think, for our rec staff who have been busting their tails right now, getting everything done. But I know I've gotten emails a lot from the staff. They're excited to come back. If you think about it, though, this is probably a third of what we had previously, and we have a lot that are not returning or have found other jobs. So this is also a rebuilding point, I think, for LWSRA. And normally we have staff that stay for a pretty long time. So Tammy and I are going to be very busy in the next 2-3 weeks, training and getting paperwork complete. But again, we are excited to have that. I know Keith talked a little bit about the bunny baskets. But again, they were a hit. Nadine does a fantastic job coordinating everything with that, working with the foundation. Like you said, we just had a golf committee meeting on April 13th. So excited to turn the page and start working on that event. But the foundation was great. I've never seen them work so hard. So things are getting better in that aspect. They're taking a lot of ownership and the committee that me and Nadine had they were excellent. So it was really nice to see them. They put in a lot of hours. So that was great. I want to turn it over to Tammy though.
Student intern involvement, we've had 2 applications for summer internships. Chris and I have met with them and as they submit applications. So she's continuing to push out information to the local colleges also to try to get 2 or 3 more interns, which would be great to have this summer. Special Olympics Area E, Region E, is hosting an in-person spring games in May. So we're excited to actually participate in that finally, after a long year of not doing any Special Olympic programming. We have a couple athletes that are going to be doing track and field, and then they also are hosting a 3, 6, and 9-hole golf course or golf event later on this summer. So we'll probably attend that as well. All their events right now are non-qualifying events, and there are still no plans to restart the state competitions, but this is their start to get back to some type of normalcy, which we're excited for. Like Melissa said, the bunny baskets were a hit. I agree. I think the foundation has a better understanding of what we do, so that in itself was good. That event was on 3/3, and then they had the basket picked up between 9 and 1. Let's see, they sold over 450 kits, which was great. And then we also had 26 at-home deliveries. So the bunny went out on buses and we delivered to 26 homes, actually all over the place. I was all the way to Homer Glen, and we were in Lockport, a little basic area in Lockport. So we were all over the place, and I think they really enjoyed that. It was a beautiful day, so it was better than the Valentine's Day kits when it was snowing like this. Virtual programs, we continue to offer a good amount of virtual programs during the month of March and April. We had 12 regular weekly virtual programs. We had 2 special events in March. We did a Pajama Jam dance on March 4th with 14 participants. And we did the St. Patrick's Day Bingo and Trivia on March 19th with 24 participants. Our in-person programming, the rec team has been hard at work making sure that all in-person programs continue to run smoothly. Our basketball program has been structured to start offering in-house scrimmage games, so that's been exciting. Our Special Olympics athletes were the first one to offer like a 3 versus 3 program every Tuesday in March, and that was our pilot program. And since then, we've expanded it to offer to our wheelchair teams a few options for scrimmage games as well. Track and field conditioning is another exciting program that we offered in person this month. Participants are really enjoying the time spent training and utilizing the walking track, which has really come in handy outside, except for yesterday when it was cold out. And then I also had them doing some of the fitness pods out there as well. So it was quite interesting to see them doing the high knees and the rope climb out there. So it was, we're utilizing the path, which has been great. Our hybrid drama and game night programs continue to be a hit, which offers the option to be in person and virtual at the same time. We held one hybrid special event, our spring craft and baking. We had 7 in person and we had 7 virtually. So that was interesting to run around trying to teach them how to paint and do snacks all together, and then also do it virtually. So they had a good time. All the virtual participants received an activity bag. Here had their own craft project, so it was really a big hit. And now we're just focusing on getting everything ready for summer. Like Melissa said, our staff's coming back. We're excited. We're offering a 14-week summer program, and it's gonna be a lot of fun this summer. So we're looking forward to that. Transportation, the vehicles had minimal use this month, about a little over 400 miles. And we're working on getting them all up to date with new wiper blades and making sure everything's ready to go for summer, because we'll offer limited transportation. All up to date on our IDOT safety inspections as well.
Tammy, have you seen that came out, what was it, Wednesday afternoon or Thursday, the all sports guidelines for the high risk sports?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are on.
That's something we're gonna discuss and talk about. Melissa and I talked about it a little bit yesterday, but something we're gonna talk about this week.
Is that the one where it disappeared overnight, out of the language? Or do you not know about that?
No, I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah.
They
It's the
updated
one with
again?
over 13, it's 13-year-olds have to prove that they vaccinated, correct?
No, it's either testing, I didn't want to, it talks about, yes, for high-risk sports, like the testing or every 2 weeks or 72 hours before competition, unless they're 13. I don't know if it's under 13 or 13 and younger.
Right.
Right, but the grid, some of the stuff disappeared overnight. There was no announcement.
Well, all that disappeared, I thought, was the image, and we had already captured it, but it's a really nice flow. It explains to people when you mask up and when you don't, because of the low risk, they reduced it for baseball, track and field.
Right, but some of the shoulds disappeared too. So really go back to whatever's out there right now. I'm assuming there's gonna be more to come. A lot of it had to do with the announcement out of Michigan.
Right, that's what I said yesterday during the.
So, but there's a go, I mean, it's not the same document. There was no announcement. So go to the site and print the latest version.
Yeah, it's been quite the challenge with us too, because we have, and you just think about basketball. We have basketball for Special Olympics, and then we have wheelchair basketball, which one is a high risk, one that they have as a moderate risk. So it puts us in a weird conundrum.
I think any basketball applied under this one.
No. It's wheelchair. It specifically says wheelchair basketball as a separate, and it's been that way. And I've been trying to get them to put it together wherever it goes, because it causes issues for people saying, well, why can't you play basketball? Or if I decide to take a wheelchair basketball team to a tournament and don't take the Special Olympics team, then now I have 1,000 people knocking down my door. Why is this moderate now? So we just consider it all high risk, and we're not doing it. That's all of Illinois. So that's all of our programs. So those kind of decisions really affect us and when we're doing stuff. But we will definitely look at that again and see what it is. But that could also affect our offerings for the summer based on what we just put out. So and then we did have a meeting with our Titans Day programming staff. So we say tight, so just want to explain to everybody, Audrey sat on it as well. It is Titans programming. So during the week, there will be multiple programs that they can sign up under the Titans umbrella. So they're now signing up for individual programs, which has recreation based, and we're splitting them up to have recreation value. So we did talk to them, they understood, it was some little dialogue back and forth, but I think it's going to be a good thing, because some of those individuals that couldn't spend a whole day and move mask up and move mask out, now they can just come at the later end of the day, because we're not doing toileting or feeding. They can come at the later end of the day and still have some program. But we also can invite individuals in that couldn't afford a full day of programming to do some of the activities that we're doing. So staff have a phenomenal plan and idea. It's changed, and it's going to be hard for people to deal with this, and we're just trying to get through that. But just so you know, it's not Titans program as it was, it's Titans programming. So it's like we have Special Olympics program, it's Titans Day programming. So the name could be anything. We went back and forth. They want to keep the name. I said, forget it, just keep the name and do it. What is it? It could be Hawks programming, it could be Hawks, whatever day program it is, but we're just going to do, they're associated with the name, which is good. I love the name, and we have acronyms for it, and we built it. So we're just going to put more under that umbrella to do more things during the day. So.
And it was well received, I thought, overall. I mean, there were some comments and some concern, more for those individuals that are tier C, because of the fact that that's still limited as far as what they can do, or more limited. But all in all, I thought that the flexibility was well received within the program.
Yeah, and it's just really for us. We decided to have that meeting because there was rumor trail starting to filter through the community, and we just wanted to make sure that we knocked down all the rumors and make sure they knew what our plan of action was going to be. It was received, and we moved forward, and we're going to move forward with what we have and try to get everybody back. But just know that we won't be doing a lot of transportation, we won't be doing feeding, and we won't be doing changing. Those are the things that we're going to limit. The changing for sure, and the feeding, we're just gonna have to figure that out and play it by ear. So, that is as far as programming wise, and really just told them that, I I'm not the one-stop shop for programming. We have layers. You know, if you have an issue with programming, go to Juanita, and then if you're not, go to, you know, go up the ladder. And that's what we're trying to get them to understand, that, you know, the programming goes through levels, and then we'll work it out. We want to get to a way of yes, but there's processes to get to that level. But yeah, but and the sad thing is, some of them won't be able to come back, and that's the reality. And it hurts for me to say that, but we just can't do what we used to do in the past. We're not going to be able to find staff to change individuals. We're not going to find staff to feed individuals. That's just going to be a reality. And if they want that service, we're going to have to figure out a way to do it, but it's not going to be our staff doing it. So, yeah, that's a lot. All right, so that's reports. Financial outlook. We did talk about this a little bit. We have 2 months left. Things look good, barring we don't have any major things. I know we have some staff training we're going to do. We have some equipment we need to buy, but all of that is in this projection for April and May. We shouldn't be going over. We have some computer issues that we put in here to fix those things. So like, I really love this exercise. This was really nice to kind of see how much cash we have on hand and how much we're spending a month. So I want to thank Greg for really pushing us to do this document, but it really looks nice. So and we're not far off. I'm looking at it. I probably should have kept the projected and then just created another column with the actual to kind of see it, but then it would have been really long and really tiny. But I just replaced the projected with the actuals each month, and we weren't way off in any of the things that we've done. So it's been pretty cool exercise to do. Marie's going to clean up some of this other stuff that was at the bottom that was kind of left over from the previous accounting, that we need to fix some things to make it look better. But overall, it looks really good. So that's that. Any questions on that projection sheet? No. And then facilities planning and I don't have anything for this. There's nothing in there. However, I do want to just let you guys know the activity we're getting from the park and the building of the park. And we're able to, if you hashtag LWSRA, we're finding people are hashtagging us that we have no idea who they are. We found 2 kids with Down syndrome, just with they're on the park, they're playing, and we've been able to reach out to those individuals and get them involved. We found an individual that had autism walking from the park, and I said, hey, come check us out. And now those people are a part of our program, and they live in the community. They just don't know we exist. So that park has been a phenomenal for finding participants that normally don't use our services. So that was and we hit it on the nose. I think did George share the picture I sent with you guys? And we don't know these people. We've never seen them, and we just know that they're tagging the park and sharing it with their friends, and it's been a great asset. So it's good. So.
You should clarify that for Greg Vitale. There's no spray paint involved. It's not that kind of thing.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And also, I just wanted to, and I could do this at my end, but I'm going to say this now. But the building, I just got a call last week from the Rehabilitation Institute of Chicago, which is now the Shirley Ability Lab, and there's a new Lenox resident. Year post his injury, it was last Thursday, year post that day, and he was ready to play wheelchair softball. And he's C4 quadriplegic, and he's ready to go, and he's New Lenox. And it's because we have programs like this, and this building is built, that he doesn't have to drive all the way to Chicago to get that service. but there's many more in the community, and we know that. I know it's one, a guy that lives right across the street from Gina, but from her building, but I know these people are there, but we have it for when they're ready to come, and when they come back to the community, veteran or just, you know, a person that had a tragic accident or someone that was born with a physical disability, we have it, and there's no other SRA that has this in the state of Illinois that deals with adults and kids. So it's just, you know, this is the place, this is what we do, and it's awesome. So if you're looking to give a report to your boards, those are the nuggets that you need to take back, because yeah, we're doing something right, and people are starting to notice.
So not to stress you out, but when we get the budget cleaned up, the next couple of months, we really got to regenerate the facility and planning as far as those big ticket items, because there's federal money and there's going to be county money, and the county money, you know, through the I don't even know what they call it, rescue plan or whatever. Sure. You know, there's 135 million, is my understanding, coming to Will County. And that's got to be spent over a 1 to 3 year period. So it's not overnight like the CARES money. You heard that yesterday, administered by the same group. So it's yet to be determined if it's lost revenue or capital or what combination of it. But I believe that we got the road in, we've done, you know, like the capital projects we meant to do, the building's gonna be paid off. You know, we got to start planning whether we're going to try to keep that money from each district, and then what would it go to? Is it an addition? Is it a bus barn? Is it what is it? And I think we need to blow those, you know, get that stuff back out, or the canopy, and maybe it just needs to be, you know, general, you know, best guess numbers right now in a letter going at the, you know, to our congressman or to our reps from Will County or whatever, just to keep, you know, start that thinking process, get in their head, their ear, you know. So when you get time with that, I mean, I think I'm on that committee too. I don't know who's all on that, but I'd like to, we need to fire that up. And it's not something that, like I said, we're going to do overnight, but it's something that we actually got to get on paper and get that thought process in the politicians in their heads.
Yeah, we literally have everything in a PowerPoint, so all we got to do is just, you know, my PowerPoint has all of those projects in it that we, you know, that's how I keep track of them.
Right.
So,
But
yeah,
based on what I'm seeing, we need to
do it. Yeah, put it in the document. I got it. We'll do that. All right.
All right, so facilities and planning, there's nothing. Old business, there's nothing. Executive session, no need.
Nope.
New business, approval of salary and benefit recommendations.
Yep, I put a memo in front of you. You know, the budget does support the increases that I recommended, and the benefits package that I recommended, and then supports the executive director car allowance increase. So those were the 3 points that we talked about, and I wanted to put that on your radar. And if we could get that approved, we can move forward to just really solidifying that stuff in the budget and going forward. So the goal is to get everybody to the midpoint within the next 3 years. This year, for increases of a 3%, that's based on cost of living and merit. We're right on target with keeping that exactly the same without the unknowns. I didn't want to really start increasing that until 2022, 23, because we're in that unknown space. So I just want to make sure that we could just have a plan to get to that. And what it would be is, you know, in 2023, we will start the increases, which we do at 3%, but we also will tack on the extra percentage not to exceed 6% in each given year for any person. So that is kind of how we're going with it. We could amend this to kind of do more on some, but I just split it on for a third based on recommendations across the board over 3 years.
I think for the record, I think that's all based off of the HR source salary survey.
Yes. Yep.
which is, you know, again, I know we all know this, but for the sake of record, is a very comprehensive, robust comparison of industry positions. It's the best apples to apples comparison you're going to find within an industry. And so that's what you say midpoint, just to make clarification.
So I am asking for approval of this so we can move forward with the rest of the things that we have, the business that we have to do to get this done, and we can go forward.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion. Greg Lewis?
I'll second it.
Any questions or comments for Keith or staff?
No, I just want to say that, you know, Greg and I had a lot of input in this, and I think it's a well planned out, well thought out document. I give kudos to Keith and the staff. This is something that I think any agency should strive to do for the sake of not only staff retention, but staff attraction down the road. Getting all your staff to the midpoint is a perfect, is just a great thing to do. I do give them a lot of credit. It's a tough budget year, but the fact that we're able to do this and put it all in the budget, I think is just a great thing. And it's something that we should all be very thankful for.
Yeah, and I think the other side note to that is the fact that a lot of this is driven by the collapse or the increase of the minimum wage. So, you know, that's not going away, even though the pandemic hit. Politicians are continuing to push that number. The schedule is still there. So all of us are under that gun. So you're going to continue to see categories and rates, and, you know, from somebody that's been at a district a long time to somebody that's just coming in, you know, there's not going to be a lot of distance between those jobs. So you're not really rewarding a great performance or years of service to the district until we get out of this cycle and get the minimum wage where legally it's going to have to end up. So that's, you know, driving a big piece of it. And then the market, you know, it's no doubt. I mean, there's a lot of empty holes. We've got a lot of good people, and we need to keep them here. You know, and that's what drove the whole bus on this thing. And I think everybody involved did a great job with it. So it lays out a plan so we can afford to do it and get it to where it needs to be. So the only other question I have is that, are we bringing back a new contract next month or at the beginning?
I was going to ask that question.
At what point, John? Versus just, I mean, are we going to go with a new one versus amending the old one because there's some things that have come up that are now no longer legal, and, you know, because it changes with the laws, and we made some wholesale changes. So are we starting new come June?
Yeah, I think we gotta, I'll work with Keith and put something together for you guys to look at the next meeting.
Okay.
So,
But it would be an approval of a new contract, not an addendum to the current contract.
correct. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I'll try and circulate it a week or two ahead of time so that, you know, it gets everybody's input so it's ready to be voted on at the next meeting, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're 1 month ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions?
I know we already approved it, and I mean, the plan is obviously to work on the contract, but the executive director increases are in here as well. So is it okay that we're approving this now and then working on the contract? Is that how we should be doing it?
Is that everything regarding the executive director's increases? Is it in there?
Just the salary. There's going to be more when we discuss contract.
Well, you got the salary, vehicle allowance, and some other things that would be in there it's all budgetary dependent. So wouldn't it be okay to approve this item? I mean, and then negotiate, or not negotiate, but complete the process on the contract?
I'm good with that. I just wanted to make sure we're doing it correctly.
That's fine. It's not perfect to have done it that way, but that's fine. We'll make it work.
Well, and for the other board members' information too, the changes to the contract legally we have to do. So, I mean, that's stuff that has come up in the last couple of months that I mean, our government's really good about that, making changes and then they don't notify us, so.
Okay, so we need a motion then in a second.
have-
Oh, we do?
We do.
Oh, roll call, sorry,
Greg
roll call.
Lewis and Greg Vitale, motion.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Barb,
Yes.
Greg Lewis,
Yes,
Audrey? Audrey?
She said,
she's on.
Sorry, yes.
Okay. Gina,
Yes,
Greg Vitale,
Yes.
Kirsten?
Yes.
And Jay,
Yes.
motion passed.
The next item is the approval of the 21-22 budget. Did we want to table that till next month with the recommended changes?
Yeah.
Okay, so the approval of 21-22 budget will be tabled for the May meeting with the changes that were discussed earlier with the change, with the shifting of salaries to certain budget, program budgets. And, all right, so we'll move on to director and commissioner comments. We'll start with the remote folks first. How about Audrey, you want to get us started?
Sure. Let's see. Melissa, please put us down for a golf foursome. We gotta dust off our clubs, but that sounds pretty good. Let's see, and gotta love the remote audit. I think we're gonna do our second one starting next month, and I just love that portal. What an advancement in everything. So enjoy. Let's see, and great job with the parent meeting. I was really impressed with the flexibility and the options offered. That's just really good programming for all. That's really great work. So thank you very much and keep up the good work, and I'll see y'all soon.
All right, thanks, Audrey. Greg Vitale.
Just a couple things for me. First things first, I'm really looking forward to taking the last place at the golf outing this year. So my other three players will have some big shoes to fill because I'm definitely not going to carry them. So I'm just going to put that out there right now. And then second, it's nice to hear about all the summer programming that's on the horizon, especially when I'm looking out my window at all the snow. So it's a perfect opportunity to have a board meeting and pump up all of our summer offerings. So I think it gives a lot of folks a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, something to look forward to. So thanks for making it a lively meeting and bringing those things up. But keep up the good work.
All right, thanks, Greg. Kirsten.
Nothing really from me. I just appreciate you guys still letting me learn as we go here and kind of absorbing your information as I process it and figure it all out. So I appreciate you all.
All right, thanks. Gina.
Greg, you'll have to compete with Frankfurt for the lowest golf or the highest golf score, I guess. So if you weren't aware of that, we will put us down for at least one foursome. And again, looking forward to seeing all the summer programming and more staff coming back on board for you guys.
Yeah. Barb.
We've got a few changes being done at our park district. Our current manager has given her notice. So we are searching for another park manager. Our park manager will be the equivalent of your executive directors. But we elected just to go with a park manager position. So we are looking for that. I also want to thank the members. I'm trying to find grandstands that are special needs equipped. Very difficult. So there's the closest I can find is something that's IBC, which is a lower rise, longer width handles. Not sure if that actually qualifies under ADA. If anybody has any suggestions, would you please let us know, because we need to replace our grandstands in our parks and we're looking for an option. We'd like them to be special needs. Thank you to everybody again, your support, because I realize that I'm constantly reaching out to you. So thank you.
I will send you Larry Labiak, the Disability Policy Officer for Chicago Park District.
Thank you.
He will lead you into he's in a chair
As a rabbit hole?
Yeah, he'll lead you somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but I'm sure the Chicago Park District has something in the many
Yeah.
parks that he's.
Don't be so sure.
Oh,
We're talking about bleachers.
he would be the one that knows though.
They might know where to get them. They're just not buying them.
Right, right.
But we're talking the smaller, not,
Yeah, maybe 3 to 4 risers.
yeah,
total.
I'll talk to George. I mean, there's a couple.
Yeah, it's the ones that I found, there's OSHA and IBC, and these are IBC, but they don't specifically say ADA.
Yeah.
So I'm like, will we consider them special needs or not? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, they changed their requirements a while ago. I remember when George was telling me that, and we were looking for some, and it was like, you couldn't get, the ones we have, you can't buy anymore. They
Right,
don't even make those anymore, and they're not accessible, but they make sure that all of them are.
yeah, unfortunately, a lot of our grandstands are, and we call them like bleachers, grandstands, whatever, are really just a metal frame with wooden seats. So, I'm tired of replacing boards. We had to replace a whole bunch just a few weeks ago. And I said, enough, we need to improve this throughout the park.
They could be there when my grandmother was in school.
They could be there when your great grandmother was.
They were all through Pietro, so.
All right, Greg.
I think it's a great job across the board. I think, the important thing too with the discussion with the Titans program, and Keith said it to begin with, is that our mission, and even by law, the tax fund is for the purpose of recreation. So I think we were getting into an area that probably we shouldn't have been before. And that's a heated debate in SRAs as it is, as far as how far do you go with that, because there's a huge gap in services. And the need is there, but it's not really being addressed. And we do so many things so well that it was just something that was needed, and we jumped in and did it. And now, basically, because of COVID, everything's gotten pulled back on what you can do and you can't do. So I just think it's a great job across the board to look outside the box and come up with ideas on what we can do, what can be supported. And then, like we said with the budget, really look hard at what are those costs, because everything comes at a cost, and everything is a business now. So you have to cover your direct and indirect costs to stay in business. I mean, we have no choice. So I think we're doing a great job of that, identifying thing. And I really, I'm thankful that it's here, because it's another thing that, when there was this heated debate, it wasn't because things weren't, done right. It's because it wasn't readily transparent. And that's what came bringing through every discussion. So now we're making more and more things transparent, explaining more and more reasons why we do things the way we do it. So I've been here for a long time, so I really do commend the staff that's been with us and the job that you're doing to do that, to learn and make the stuff transparent, because the fight to do what you're doing and serve the need has always been there. Now we're growing from the other side with the administrative and what it takes, and how much lost time is done when you don't have these things in place. So we're killing all of it. We're putting it all to bed. So I really appreciate that effort across the board. So thank you.
Yeah, and to kind of carry that forward a little bit, I mean, I think the meeting the other night with the program participants and their families was just an extension of that, because I realized it served multi-purposes. One, to cut off a negative conversation, but I also think just when you make a major change like that, it's important to get in front of it and to have that communication and transparency. And it was well received for the most part. And I think that in turn will lead to a lot less headaches down the road when you just surprise people with that kind of stuff. So that was good. And it makes them feel part of the process, which is important. So, because they take a lot of ownership in their programming, you can tell, and which I'm sure at times could be not fun, but there's a lot of passion, and that's a good thing. Greg, thanks for your work towards the the finance from the finance committee and working with Keith on the budget and the plan for staff. I think it's a great plan. And I agree that with what Greg said, our number one asset is our staff. And we need to make sure that we are not only taking care of the ones we have, but preparing ourselves to be attractive to new employees as well. So that's a huge step in the right direction. But all in all, great job. And thank you very much for your efforts. Keith, do you have any comments?
No, I think I said everything I had. Thank you guys for your support. I guess I always have something to say. Thank you guys for your support of the agency and continued support of what we do and your advice, because we look at you guys as, for advice and mentors and guides and doing this. Like, we're the only SRA that really have our own facility. So there's no blueprint for it. So we're making it as we go along, and in the support that you guys give us is tremendous, and the support that you guys allow us to be creative and do stuff like the financial and the insurance things is phenomenal. So I'm excited for them that they will be able to have a little extra money in their pocket and do things that they need to do, and we can move forward into the next chapter and what we need to do here. So thank you guys.
All right. Thank you, Keith. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion, Greg Lewis.
Second, Gina?
Okay.
Roll call.
Okay. Barb,
Yes.
Greg Lewis,
Yes.
Audrey,
Yeah.
Gina,
Yes?
Greg Vitale,
Yes.
Kirsten.
Yes.
And Jay.
Yes.
Motion passed. We are adjourned.
11:02.